With it being the center of a lot of controversy, Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper has long been the subject of secrecy and mystery. The painting in which Jesus partakes in his final meal with his disciples has got many whispering about what is actually hidden within the painting. From prophetic messages and hidden musical scores to warning about the end of the world. What was Da Vinci trying to tell us? Today we're diving into the true meaning behind Da Vinci's Last Supper. Dubbed one of history's most famous pieces of art, The Last Supper was Leonardo da Vinci's depiction of an event described in all four Gospels, in which Christ shared a meal with his disciples, knowing full well that he was going to be betrayed at any moment, and the anguish and torture that was about to follow. To give you some context, the painting was said to illustrate the following few moments after Jesus revealed that one disciple would betray him before dawn. As you can see in the painting, all 12 have reacted to the news with varying degrees of shock. Take James, for example, who was furiously raising his arms in the air to his left, Thomas, who seemingly was demanding an explanation, or even Philip, who was hunching down in disbelief at what he had just heard, while the others, Matthew, Jude, and Thaddeus, were facing him from behind, as they seek clarification from Simon. On the other side, Bartholomew, James, and Andrew are depicted on Jesus' right, at the far end of the table, appearing to be in disbelief, while Peter, who was in front of them, held a knife and appeared ready to retaliate physically. Finally, the culprit, responsible for the betrayal, Judas, silently held a purse while toppling a salt cellar. However, if you've noticed, there's one figure in the painting we've left out. Well, the reason is that it's actually unknown who Da Vinci was actually trying to portray, due to the unusual nature of the figure. Well, you see, while the Apostle John is continually debated to be the feminine figure seated next to Jesus, seeing as Da Vinci had frequently portrayed John with feminine mannerisms in his earlier artworks, many people think that this isn't John depicted here at all, and the mysterious figure in the portrait is actually Mary Magdalene. Depending on who you listen to, the character of Mary Magdalene throughout history is believed to be significantly reduced to just a prostitute or a wrecked woman who was redeemed after turning to Christ. However, if you look back at early Christian writings, Mary Magdalene was actually portrayed as not just an ordinary follower, but Jesus' trusted companion, his wife. And whether you want to accept it or not, the Gospel of Mary, a 2nd century AD manuscript discovered in Egypt in 1896, says that Mary Magdalene was more knowledgeable and powerful than Jesus' male disciples. If we dig a bit deeper, in the Gospel of Philip, Mary Magdalene was also identified as Jesus' companion, saying that Jesus used to kiss Mary, often on her, with the last word of the sentence missing due to damage. However, scholars often substituted the word mouth for it. Now that might be a stretch, but if we examine the painting closely, experts have pointed out that the formation of the letter V can be seen between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and is often thought to represent the womb. Could this mean that Jesus and Mary had a child together? But going deeper, when we include Jesus and Mary, it no longer forms a V but rather an M shape, which many have taken to believe meant matrimonio. Was Da Vinci subtly trying to hint that the pair was secretly wedded? Well, the wife of Jesus, even though a significant theory made popular by the Da Vinci Code, isn't the only theory, and this man might have just figured out the true meaning behind the Last Supper. Slavisa Pesci, an information technologist, discovered that when a mirror image of the painting is overlaid on top of the Last Supper, new hidden figures appear. To be specific, 4 different figures. If you look at the end of the table, you'll find 2 figures that look like the Templar Knights, another figure holding a baby, and a chalice that appears in front of Jesus Christ. Was Da Vinci trying to tell us about the hidden location of the Holy Grail? It certainly would explain the appearance of the Knights Templar, who are said throughout history to have been its guardians. But what if the painting was trying to tell us that the Holy Grail was not about some old cup, but a person instead? the baby, the son of Jesus Christ, and Mary Magdalene. When Pesce published his theory online, it immediately went viral, crashing dozens of Da Vinci-related websites, with some even claiming that this could be the find of the century. Others who were more skeptical slammed the theory, stating that Da Vinci's placement of figures was more important, and the man never intended for his painting to be seen in this manner, citing that with this blurry image, viewers were just seeing what they chose to see. But interestingly enough, it doesn't stop there, as these skeptics pointed to another theory, a hidden message. This theory describes that the painting is actually hiding a numeric pattern, 33133. And if you're confused how skeptics came to this conclusion, let me break it down for you. On the right of Jesus, there are two groups of 3 disciples, and 2 groups of 3 disciples to Jesus' left. And if you include Jesus at the center, you'll end up with a code, 33133. You might be wondering, what does this have to do with anything? But to understand pattern 33133, we need to take a look at Da Vinci's history as a student at the workshop Andrea del Verrocchio, where in the year 1476, he and 3 other men were arrested and charged with sodomizing Jacopo Sartorelli, an apprentice goldsmith. Now you might be wondering, what does the past have to do with the pattern 33133? But it is suggested that 33133 actually refers to a verse from the Bible, Lamentations, chapter 1, verse 31 through 33, which reads, "For no one is cast off from the Lord forever." Many believe that this was Da Vinci's way of expressing his homosexuality and pointing to the fact that despite this being a legal practice at the time, he is still loved as a child of the Lord. But even that didn't satisfy the public, and soon another theory came to light, a more musical one. You see, in November of 2007, a computer specialist by the name of Giovanni Maria Paula claimed to have deciphered the real Da Vinci Code. Well, Giovanni claimed that if you draw equal distance horizontal lines across the many bread rolls and hands, a musical score will appear. And if we take into account how in Da Vinci's day, sheet music was performed from right to left, we would end up with this piece of music. The piece, when performed at 40 to 60 beats per minute on a pipe organ, while not the greatest of melodies, contained enough musicality to suggest that it was purposely written as a somber soundtrack for the moment in which Jesus revealed that one of his disciples would betray him. Even though Da Vinci expert Alessandro Vasassi maintains that there is always a risk of seeing something that isn't there, he doesn't rule out the possibility that Da Vinci was capable of hiding an entire tune in a painting. But if you think that hidden sheet music within a painting that was centuries old is a bit of a stretch, this lady might just have the answer you are searching for. Vatican scholar Sabrina Sforza Galizia announced in 2010 that she had solved a mathematical and astrological puzzle hidden in the Last Supper. According to Galizia, the central half-moon window above Jesus Christ in the painting is the key to the puzzle, and that with the use of Da Vinci's hidden code involving the signs of the zodiac and the 24 letters of the Latin alphabet to represent the 24 hours in a day, Da Vinci had already seen the story of humanity unfold before it even happened, leading to the final reckoning in the form of a universal flood. A flood that will start around March 21st, 4006, and end on November 1st, 4006, marking the end of the world and a new beginning for humanity. Well, from what we know of the genius Leonardo da Vinci, experts say that it's possible that not one, but all of these theories could be hidden within the Last Supper, foreshadowing the future. But could there be a simpler explanation to the Last Supper? And could we be just looking for something that isn't there?